Welcome, welcome. This is Big Mac Sports. I look like I had some stuff that I needed to fix, but we're on. Um, this is your morning stream, morning rant. And the San Francisco 49ers news. Also, um, is it a popularity contest or what is it? The Pro Bowl and the All-Star game. The NFL and the NBA need to change what they are doing. Just not fair to the players, especially the players that do all the work out there and they don't get the recognition that they need or that they deserve because they should be playing in the Pro Bowl or be voted into the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl itself is to me it's not like what it used to be. They should use it for something else besides players go out there and play dodgeball and flag football. Um, so they should do a more creative, uh, something different with the Pro Bowl. But the voting itself, they need to change because Dre Greenlaw should have been in the Pro Bowl. Christian McCaffrey should have got voted in there from the get go. He shouldn't have went in as a replacement. That was just why did that happen? Also, I think Brandon Ayuk should have been in there than some of the guys that got put in there as alternates and replacement players. So, but that's all a foregone conclusion. We don't need to waste time on the Pro Bowl. All it was to me was a powder puff game, All Star game. Sure, the guys played and they had fun out there with fans and interactions with everybody, but um, that's just a wasted time. The Pro Bowl is the other. The other thing is the NBA All Star game. Uh, what a shame. There's uh there's snubs and there's really snubbed. The guys that got snubbed this year in the NBA, De'Aaron Fox should have been in there. He should have definitely been an All Star, and also Aaron Gordon. Like these are two guys that playing for teams that are tops in the West, first place and third place, and they're not in it. So so that's what I'm here to talk about today. Um, what do they do to fix it? I don't know. What can they do? There should be a better way to fix these two games, the Pro Bowl and the All Star game for both the NFL and the NBA. All right, so moving on from that, that's just a little rant on that. The San Francisco 49ers, the big news today. Well, it was from last night, but Brock Purdy, it looks like he's going to be going under surgery and he'll be out about 9 to 12 months. So that would put him out of the whole season next year. So it looks like his season will start off in 2024, along with Tom Brady on Fox Sports. So maybe Tom Brady will cover uh, Brock Purdy's comeback, start to his comeback year in 2024. So that was just a tough break, tough thing to go for Brock Purdy to go through, and hopefully he can pull through it. So the other news is Trent Williams and Yamador Lenore. They both got fines from the league. The one I don't know what Lenore's fine is, but Trent Williams' fine is for the big body slam that he did on number 42 for the Eagles. Coming up to this coming year, it looks like Trent Williams will be back with the team with the San Francisco 49ers. They need to shore up. San Francisco needs to go get a right tackle to shore up that right side of the line. A lot of players that they got to get signed, and we don't know if it's going to be able to happen. So the other news is that Joe Montana says that they should re-sign Jimmy Garoppolo and he being the starter. Now, Garoppolo is a good quarterback, but I just think that his time in San Francisco has ended. And Kyle Shanahan says that he's not going to be here. But we all know the whole story from last year. He's not going to be here. Then it's a good thing that he came back because the San Francisco 49ers really needed him to help the team get to the season that they had. And then he himself getting hurt, and then Brock Purdy getting in there and getting us to the NFC Championship game. Now, just looking at some of the players that's coming out to free agency, there's a lot of big names out there that the San Francisco 49ers should go after. There's one guy that's not out there in free agency this year. And the 49ers should go and try to draft this guy. Last week I kind of talk about it a little bit with Coach Tuyaki and Wolf on my show last Friday, where I talked about Taysom Hill and how he should be the guy. He's the guy that Kyle Shanahan really needs as a player, as a quarterback. Come in and back up Trey Lance, and then you call those special plays, and then you go and have him do those plays, like running the ball and everything. So that's a guy like Taysom Hill be able to do that. Also, we need to be able to protect those guys too. So protecting them is something that we need to address big time. And everything that they do, yes, they need to sign Nick Bosa to a long-term contract, but also they need to shore up that right side of the line, and also get a left tackle that is going to be there just in case Trent Williams retire after next year. So we're going to need to get that line, that O line. We're going to need to get that O line shored up and have some pieces in place just in case Big Trent decides to leave and retire. So we need that to happen in free agency this year. We need to do that, and then going into the draft, there's guys that I like in the draft and um, that will help this team really going into next season. But that's what we really need to have happen is get these guys into the building that are going to be good pieces for the San Francisco 49ers and heading into the 2023 fall season. Um, that's what we need to get addressed. The other parts of the San Francisco 49ers that they need to address is that defensive line. Of course, their biggest signing is needing a defensive coordinator to come in, and whoever John Lynch and company sign in the offseason and draft, that they are able to get them. They're able to get them into the building and get them practicing and playing with the other guys, so that way they can be cohesive by the end of the preseason and training camp. So those are some of the things that the San Francisco 49ers need to get addressed this year. A lot of signing, a lot of people that they need to get signed, but um, we need for the front office to be able to get this team where they're playing for the NFC Championship game and winning it, and then going in and winning a Super Bowl. So this week, the Super Bowl, I have Kansas City beating the Philadelphia Eagles. Um, but from the way that Mahomes is his injury, I don't think that he's going to be very effective if that pass rush gets to him. Um, and it's going to be a really good Super Bowl game, and I I just think that Kansas City will beat the Eagles, um, and then there's another Super Bowl for Andy Reid. And this time it'll be against his old team that he used to coach for. So we'll see what happens in that game. It's going to be a really good game, I believe, unless um, Kansas City's quarterback get injured, like how San Francisco's quarterback got injured in the NFC Championship game, and there goes the game, because not only did Brock Purdy get hurt, but Josh Johnson got hurt, and so Brandon Ayuk adjusted last week. He was on with SF Niners and with Brad, and he talked about like, hey, it was just we just didn't have the opportunities and the chances to play against that defense and against that secondary. So um, other the other news that I have for you guys is that we need a DC that's going to come in, and I think that Wilkes, if they bring him into the building and they have him signed, he will be a good DC for the San Francisco 49ers. He'll make that defense uh, really blossom, and I don't think they'll miss a beat um, from D'Amico departing to the Texans. So it's going to be a really interesting offseason for sure. So we'll see what happens. What kind of players that the front office is going to try to bring into the building. But if they get DC like Wilkes coming in, I see that I think that the linebackers for the San Francisco 49ers are going to blossom, and they're going to be really good. I don't think there's going to be a step back from what D'Amico did here with our linebackers, but I definitely think that they will be. Um, hey, what's up, David McNiner? Just says they finally started playing flag football in the Pro Bowl. It's a shame. It's just a shame, and I can't. I couldn't even watch that game at all. It's just it's equivalent to powder puff for me. So, yep, Steve Wilkes. Yeah, exactly. McNiner. Steve Wilkes. If he comes in, he'll do a fantastic job. The linebacker group over there that he coached with the Carolina Panthers, they did a really phenomenal job under him, and I think that we will have a very phenomenal job being done with Coach Wilkes here for the San Francisco 49ers. Um, one of the one of the guys that I want to get the San Francisco 49ers to go after, um, I think he's going to come out this year, but he's a linebacker for the Oregon Ducks, Noah Sewell. And that guy, he's big, he's fast, and I see him playing more on a. They could even turn him into a speed rush guy. If you don't know who he is the younger brother of Panay Sewell that plays for the Detroit Lions. He's a hometown kid out here in the southern Utah area. And just a quick story on him. So when Panay Sewell played in high school here in the southern Utah, they won a state championship with Panay Sewell and his brother Noah. I believe he was like a freshman at the time. So he played down here. They won a state championship. Noah leaves with his dad, goes up to Provo, and in the championship game, this guy won it by himself. He got hurt his senior year, but his junior year, they won it. He just dominated the game. As soon as he touched the ball, he played kickoff return. He played running back. He played quarterback. they just had him touch the ball, and then on defense, it was lights out. He was a linebacker. They Once he came in, if you went back and watched some of his plays, he just crushed everybody. He got a little dinged up at Oregon, but if Al Shahir leaves and goes to the Houston Texans, I want to see the San Francisco 49ers draft this guy because he's got speed and he's big as heck. And Diamante Lenore, he can tell us about him. Um, but that's who I would like them to go after in the draft. It's not known yet if he's coming out in the draft, but I'm just putting it out there. If he comes out this year, they need to go after that guy in the draft. So I don't think he's probably gonna be a later round draft pick, but the San Francisco 49ers do a lot better in the later rounds than in the uh first or second round. So that's uh that's one of the guys that I want the San Francisco 49ers to try to get. Um, the other guy on defensive line is Chiaki Ika from Baylor. He's a 345-pound guy, big guy. Um, it looks like that he's going to be in the second or third round, depending on the draft grades that he gets and how scout teams look at him. But if the San Francisco 49ers don't get him, they'll surely miss out on that because they could have had Vita Vea a few years ago, and we could have just went out and drafted a different right tackle somewhere. So the those are two guys that I just kind of handpicked as my choice for them to look for in the draft. And then we have a lot of players that we need to get re-signed, but let me just go through my list here of guys that I was looking at that the San Francisco 49ers could bring in. Right tackle. Here's a right tackle for you. Right tackle from the University of Brigham Young University from BYU. That's a right tackle for you there. He should be in the third round also. Um, we have third round picks. Go get that guy. Bring him in. We have some other younger guys on the practice squad that the 49ers have. Um, but I would bring in that right tackle from BYU. He did a really phenomenal job for the last 3 years, or he started all 4 years, I think. I believe he started all 4 years college. Freeland is his last name. And I think that'll be a really good pickup if they get him in the draft in the third. He should be going around the third, fourth round. Bring him in. That's McGlinchey has no place on the San Francisco 49ers right now. He uh he gives up too much. And when you have a 245-pound guy, 245 pounds, that's my weight. Tossing a 300-pounder, that's not a joke. Which we saw in that Cowboys game. So we those are so I just named off three guys. Um, at wide receiver, we can always use some more help there. Special teams, we've got to get better special team guys. We have some really good ones this year, but we are going to lose a lot of players this year. So the outlook for San Francisco, we don't know what's going to happen, but there is going to be a number of guys that I'm going to be going through in the next 2 weeks of just seeing how they can come in and help the San Francisco team um, get back to the next Super Bowl and obviously win it. So going back to that DC uh, to Steve Wilkes, I see a lot of times when you bring in a DC, you miss a beat with some of your players not responding to what they really want to bring in. But I think that they would respond well to this guy. And if Shahir just leaves and he goes to the Houston Texans, then bringing in a kid like Noah Sewell will be fantastic for the San Francisco 49ers. And we're still running a 3-4, I believe, next year if he comes in. If we go to a 4-3, it'll be a lot harder. But I think that if they stay in the 3-4, they sign Nick Bosa. If you have a guy like Noah Sewell on the other side as a pass rusher, that's where I would put him. I wouldn't put him in. I would put him in Shahid's place too, but I think that he's. There's some people that are thinking where's that next speed rush player opposite of Nick Bosa. Um, and I know Sewell, he played linebacker most of the time over at Oregon, but if he comes into the league and they put him in there, I can see him playing opposite of Nick Bosa, and they will wreak havoc. That they just will. Um, it's just because Sewell is a big boy, big, he's fast, and I've seen him do pass rushes, and he's freaking good at it. Um, so if he comes out later in the draft, that would be a steal for the San Francisco 49ers. Um, it was like there's just people that you see, guys, players that you see, and they have that if factor. Um, it might not show on tape all the time if you go back and look at the games, but he's got an if factor, and he would do the job. He would be phenomenal opposite of Nick Bosa. And I see Yika being right there in the middle. He would eventually take the place of Javon Kinlaw, um, which I don't think that uh, Javon. He's just got to get healthy. He wasn't 100%, and we saw that in that Eagles game. Those big boys for the Eagles were just kind of pushing him around, and nothing against Javon Kinlaw, but if it's not right, you just can't do it. Can't get out on the field if you're not feeling 100% or ready to go out there and battle, because that's a lot of darn freaking pressure. Um, so I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but if you ever played rugby and you got into a scrum, um, that's that's bodies on bodies, and there's a lot of bodies pushing against each other. When I played in the scrum, I could not stand it. I was like, nope, get me out of there. There's no way I want to be in a scrum. But when I played football, it just it's just a lot of when you go head to head with somebody that's really big. There it is. It's like there's a lot of pressure, and especially if you're getting double teamed, it really takes a toll on your knees and your back. So Javon Kinlaw, he just needs to be able to rest up, rehab, and get stronger, and then come back and play at a stronger, higher level than what he's been doing now. So um, if he leaves, if they decide not to bring him back, that's a decision that he will. All he needs to do is just get right, get better. Um, so that's my advice to him is just strengthen those knees, get it stronger and everything, and then come back. So get on a Nick Bosa plan, and but you need that strength and that weight. So that's what I have for Javon Kinlaw. The other guys that who do we bring in to back up Trey Lance? Who do we bring in to back him up? Because Brock Purdy is not going to suit up next year. He's going to be rehabbing. He's not going to be in the building. Um, so who do we bring in to back up Trey Lance? So earlier in my broadcast, I say bring in Taysom Hill, trade for him. I know he signed a bigger contract, but who else is there to bring in? He is the prototypical quarterback that can come in into Kyle Shanahan's and system and play really well behind Trey Lance. So I can see having those two in there, it'll be really good for them. Um, so I don't know who else is out there that can come in and compete for that backup position. Because I really want Trey Lance to get his chance to show what he can do. And if he shows what he can do, I see Danny Gray, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jenny, and Debo Sanders getting a ton of yardage next year. Not only that, we'll see George Kittle do some things too. So they need to give Trey Lance. Everybody's just got to get behind him. Everybody in the locker room needs to get behind this young man and let him showcase his talent. Why he got drafted third overall, and let him do the things that he has um, in his arsenal. He's got a big arm. He can run, but I think that once he gets going, it's going to be lights out. And then when Brock Purdy gets healthy, they can go and have a quarterbacks competition or whatever. But have these two guys, have Trey Lance get on the field this year and show what he can do. I think he's very promising from what I've seen on tape. Even though the films are very small of what we have with him, but he can. I believe he can do it. So Trey Lance, this will be his year, and I see Danny Gray getting on the field and just being stretching that field. You'll see Brandon Ayuk's numbers go up, Debo's numbers go back up, George Kittle's numbers will go up. This will be a very good offense for next year. Um, hey, what's up, Bryant? Good to see you on here. Um, so that's that's what I want to see. I want to see Trey Lance get his opportunity, his chance, um, throw to all of our receivers, and then you have Christian McCaffrey. I don't know how healthy Mitchell will be coming back, but I want to see a lot of Jordan Mason come back up in this year. I want to see his numbers go up. I want to see him get more touches. I know Mitchell, he's really good, but I want to see Mason come back up and start playing more. Get him more playing time. So that's next year is going to be a phenomenal year. I think the 49ers is going to have a great year just as long as they get those free agents in there, come back and have a really good year. But they need to sign those free agents and bring in a really good, healthy draft class. When I say healthy, I mean bring in guys that are not injured all the time with knee problems, with back problems. Um, the San Francisco 49ers have a history of drafting these guys. Well, heck, if you want to draft somebody, draft me. I'll come over there. I want give me some of that free money. I can punt the ball a little bit still. I can still hit, but heck, get some people that are healthy, people that will contribute right away, um, and then use this philosophy. Pete Carroll uses this philosophy a lot. If you're a rookie and you're the best player and you shine out during mini camp, during OTAs, uh, preseason, that's who Pete Carroll is going to play. I don't get this whole thing about Kyle Shanahan wanting to wait a lot of times another year. All right, so let's go back to that scenario against the Rams. If you had Hufanga out there with that play, who would have came down with that interception? Would Hufanga come down with the interception? I believe that he would have. I believe that he would have. Um, so this whole idea of Kyle Shanahan not playing, not trusting um, or rookies coming into the league, that's just absurd. He needs to play the best players out there. I mean, you don't go draft a LeBron James and expect him to sit a year and watch from the bench. No, you won't do. You don't do that. Um, so there's just a lot of times when it's just head scratching moves by Kyle Shanahan of not trusting the rookies coming in. But I think if he gave them a more shot, especially in games that didn't that you didn't need your starters out there for a long time, you could have just had them jump on in there and give them playing time, getting those reps. So those are the things that Kyle Shanahan needs to do. get those get the players reps, and if they get 3 or 4 solid rookies coming in this year and they ball out and they play really well, then play them. Don't just sit there and don't. You have to play rookies that are really good because they can help your team. And we've seen rookies play really good on other teams. And Kyle Shanahan needs to do that too. Is let them play, get that playing time in. All right, that's my 30 minute for the morning. I will be back on later today, maybe. I know I have one show that I'm going to do with Raj tomorrow. So, and then Wolf sometime this week. I got a couple of players that I'm waiting on to see if I can get them on before this Eagles game. So, everybody, till the next one. See you then.